Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ian. I'm known as WanderBeard around these parts. And in today's video, I thought I was going to do something a little bit different. So over the last couple of years, I've been able to put together a pack that I've been carrying with me now and have had, pretty much everything that I would need in order to travel long term. What's interesting, I think, is that people go out and they spend a lot of money on accessories and things that they need for their backpacks. And what I'm going to do today is show you 10 items plus a couple bonuses that you can buy for about $1 each and will add no more than £1 in total to your backpack. Let's have a look. So over the last couple of years, as I said, I've been traveling pretty well full time and have found about 10 things plus a couple bonuses. I have a list here that I'm going to go to the store to pick up. And these are things that I think everyone should have with them in their backpacks. Some of these, are pretty common items, I believe. Some of these maybe not so much, but I'll go through them and I'll explain each one and why I think it's important to have with you. So here in Canada, the most popular dollar store is Dollarama. So we're gonna head down to the Dollarama. I'm gonna pick up these items that I have on my list, and we'll come back and we'll go through each one. I'll explain to you the price that I paid for them, the weight that it adds to your backpack, and why I think it's something good to have. All right, let's go inside and pick up some stuff.
I know.
Well, they certainly weren't going to let me film inside the store the whole time, but I did manage to get the haul of things, so let's go back to the house. We'll check it out, and I'll give you my thoughts. All right, well, we're back, and here's the stuff I picked up. So I thought what I would do is I'm going to go through each of the 10 items I selected, why I think it's a good idea to add it to your backpack, and I'm also going to show you the price and the weight of the individual items to show you that you can do this on a very good budget and not add a lot of extra unnecessary weight to your backpack. It's worth noting that these prices are Canadian dollars, so for the purposes of this exercise, we're going to stick to that, but this will generally work out to about $1 US or less per item. So our first item is a simple emergency rain poncho. Now you can pick these up pretty well anywhere for about $1. This one here was $1.25. These come in super handy. I've always carried at least one of these with me. Sometimes I've had as many as 2 at a time, but I mean, they're so small and they're so light that it's easy to bring 1 or 2 with you in your backpack. They fit anywhere, they're only tiny. And as you can see here, that weighs a total of 54 grams. So obviously something like that doesn't replace a full rain jacket or any of that kind of stuff, but if you're going somewhere where it's generally warm and you don't need a big rain jacket all the time, if it's like seasonal rains or occasional rains or something like that, and you want to just have like a rain poncho with you, $1 will get you that first item. And again, nice and light, goes anywhere, perfect for a backpack. Number 2 is a first aid kit. Now these do not have to be anything fancy. This one here, as you can see, was $2 Canadian, and it comes with a whole bunch of stuff inside. So it comes with this little plastic case. And then of course, inside, you've got gauze, you've got, alcohol pads, you've got Band-Aids, you've got even a bit of tape here, and even some bigger compression gauze pads should you have a bigger accident. Like say, falling into a 4-foot deep hole in Mexico at night on Halloween, and you bang up your knee pretty bad. Something like that compression gauze comes in very handy. So again, something like this is great. It's good to always have some first aid kit, even if it's just some simple things like this, just some Band-Aids, some wipes, those types of things, because they are always needed, and it's one of those things you should always have with you anyway. Only adds 45 grams to your pack, and of course you could even reduce that weight further if you're hyper focused on trying to minimize your weight as much as possible. You can do things like get rid of that, and then you've got just this case. Or if you want to take this case and put it inside a Ziploc bag, and then you don't need the plastic case anymore, you can continue to whittle down those extra grams if you're looking to do that. Number 3, a sewing kit. Now, most people probably don't think they'll need something like this, but there are multiple uses for a sewing kit, and you don't even have to take the whole thing. So this was just a $2 complete kit, comes in this little bag, has, all kinds of like safety pins and threads, and comes with a bunch of different sewing needles and all that sort of stuff. All these things, like these sewing needles, for example, are, approved for airplanes. So you can carry a little sewing kit with you, even if it's just on your carry-on bag. That's no problem whatsoever. I would break it down. I would keep, the needles, maybe one spool of the thread, and then the safety pins. And then you can even break this down and store it all in a smaller container again to manage weight or whatever. So as it is, as a whole piece, it only weighs in at 47 grams, 46 grams, must be about 46 and a half, I guess. But for me, if I was going to take this, I wouldn't take all of that. I would just break it down, and I'd probably just, like I said, keep the needles, the safety pins and the buttons, and a couple of spools of thread. Let's see what that works out to. And that comes to a total of 21 grams, 22 grams. So again, you can cut that down by half right away just by taking out the pieces you need and then getting rid of the rest. One of the things I took with me for almost 2 years and then had taken away from me on my very last trip when I was flying actually back here to Canada was a good pair of scissors. Now, according to the flight rules, TSA or whoever, anything under 10 centimeters in length on the blade is permissible on flights. So the ones that I had were, 10 centimeter long scissors, so of course they took them. So what I went instead is I found these pair, which have a 5 to 6 centimeter blade on them. So these will be 100% safe to carry in your bag, your carry-on for flights or whatever. These ones were $1.50 at the store. These are not like kids' scissors. They're ambidextrous. They actually have a 5-year warranty, it says. All that sort of stuff. Stainless steel blades. So these should be good. These should last quite a while. 30 grams. And that's with the packaging. But in my experience, it's always helpful to have a pair of scissors with you. You never know when you're going to need them for, anything from opening bags of coffee, which I've used them for, to, trimming loose threads, to, repairing things. It's always good to have a pair of these with you. And I think these are a good example of some that, kind of cover all the bases and are safe to travel with, even if you're on an airplane. So far, all these things have been fairly obvious, first aid kit, sewing kit, those types of things, the rain poncho, the scissors, those are all good things to have with you anyway. One of the things I have found personally that I've loved to have with me was a clothesline and some clothespins. Now, people can go and you can spend $20, $30, $40 on these retractable clotheslines and all this kind of fancy stuff, but you really don't need that. If you're trying to assemble a good kit on a budget, all you would need to do is just go and pick up some all-purpose rope like this. And this is just the thin stuff. I'll show you inside in a minute. And I just picked up some cheap bamboo clothespins. So the rope was $1.25, and that is for 25 meters in length, which we certainly don't need all of. And this is $1.75 for 24 clothespins. Over the last few years, I have found that like 6 or 8 clothespins has been more than enough. It's just good if you have like a wet towel or some clothes that you've washed and you want to hang up. Sometimes it's difficult to find, in places where there's maybe not a clothes hanger or maybe not a good place to hang that stuff up. You can certainly string up a line, between 2 points in a room, maybe off of a dresser and off the bed or whatever, just enough to get things up off the ground to give them a wash, and then you can hang them up. So here is everything kind of broken down. There's 8 clothespins there. There's the extra 16, which I wouldn't take with me. And then here's that rope, which I would probably cut about half as long. There's no way you're ever going to need 25 meters of it, especially for this purpose. So, cut that down by half. This stuff is nice. It's because it's fairly thin. You don't need to buy the big thick rope. This is plenty good enough for this, plus these clothespins so that when you, hang your clothes on them, it'll work out great. Now I'm cheating here just a little bit because 24 clothespins was $1.75. I'm only taking 8 with me, so that's only 60 cents for clothespins And this rope was $1.25 for 25 meters. So I'm going to cut that in half, and that's only 60 cents worth of rope and 60 cents worth of clothespins. So you've got an entire kit for hanging up your clothes. And the weight of this combined, let's have a look. So 69 grams for the clothesline and 8 clothespins, and that will take care of all of your laundry if you need to dry things, hang things up, whatever the case may be. That's really all you need. So the sixth item in my bag is actually some zipper lock bags. Now I have tested dozens at this point of different bags, different sizes, different strengths, the whole bit. I've bought more expensive, reusable, like silicone bags. I've bought mesh bags and everything else. But the ones I keep coming back to in my travels are these ones, actually. These are just simple freezer zipper seal bags. They were $1.75 for a box of 10, and they have been awesome. One of the things I should mention is that this isn't just a random assortment of things that I just picked up at the dollar store. These are all the things that I've been traveling with over the last 2 years and have all worked out great for me. These bags have lasted 2 years. I have a whole pile of them and just behind me that are used in various states. They're all still sealed. The zippers all still work on them. These ones stand up. They have writable labels on them, and they are great. So these are perfect for packing things like grabbing, for example, the clothespins and clothesline. They can fit in one of these bags perfectly. These are great. These work out to about 17.5 cents a piece, since there's 10 of them in the bag, and they were $1.75. They're awesome. I've used them for everything on my travels. I basically will just take them out of the box, put one bag and put the other 9 inside of it, and then just use them as needed. And they've been awesome. And I've had no problems. They're surprisingly durable. None of them I have torn or anything like that. The seams, nothing. They've been great. So let's have a look at how much extra weight this adds to your pack. So there's the 10 bags. As I said, like, they have a writable label on the front. So if you've got a Sharpie marker or whatever, you can write on them, keep track of things. All 10 bags in total, just under 100 grams, about 9 grams a piece. They've come in so handy for me. They add like practically no weight to your bag at all. And, people go and spend all this money on fancy pouches and bags and, whatever else for storing things. You don't need any of that stuff. I've even used these occasionally for compression bags. So I'll stuff all my socks or whatever in one of those bags and then, squeeze them down, get the air out of them. And you can use that for, packing all your socks in your bag if you wanted to keep them separate, for example. But they've been great. And those ones there, I have bought those now a couple of times. I actually have too many of them at this point, but they're awesome. The long explanation of some simple plastic bags, but I think it's a good example of a way that people, overshop and overcomplicate an issue that doesn't need to be complicated. Just buy some cheap bags. Those ones are great, and then you can use them as you need them. Number 7, just a simple pack of wet wipes. These are very handy for when you're traveling for a variety of reasons. These were $1.25. They come in a pack of 40. They have been great. So sometimes when you're traveling, you maybe don't have a chance to have a shower, but you want to kind of freshen up a bit. Things like this are great for that. You can at least kind of, wipe off your face or your armpits or whatever you need to do to kind of get yourself refreshed a little bit. People go and spend, $20, $30 on some different wipes that I've seen, shower wipes and all this kind of stuff. These literally will do the same thing. And I've had no problems with these. I've always had a pack of these in my bag, and they've been great. And what I'll often do is I'll just take that and I'll put it inside one of those plastic Ziploc bags. And then that keeps it from, just in case it gets, if it gets punctured or something, you don't want some of that liquid to leak out into your bag. It's got an extra round of protection with the zipper bag. Ironically, these are probably the heaviest thing in my bag. 40 wet wipes is 166 grams, but well worth it for the space and for the use that they'll have on your trip. The next item I always have with me is just a cheap tea towel or face towel, something like that. This one here I just picked up because it's the same one I already had in my bag, and it was $1.50. It's a great little thing just for everyday use. It's not going to replace like, a full shower towel or anything like that, but it's great if you're traveling and you need to, wipe off some sweat or a spill or anything like that. And at this price point, they're great because then if they get dirty or if they get torn or if you lose them, who cares? It was $1. Again, I've seen people go with microfiber cloths and all this kind of stuff, and those are good too. My bigger towel was a microfiber towel for the last 2 years. But for smaller things, for things like this, they're great just to buy a cheap towel, something like that. You can get those anywhere. It doesn't have to be dollar store specifically, any street market or anything like that. You'll always find vendors that have these for sale. And just to confirm, like that tea towel is 73 grams to get that into your backpack. I usually just keep one in my pocket or side pocket or something in one of the bags. So there's 2 things left, and both of these are common everyday items that most people don't think to take with them. I have used these 2 things more than probably anything else in my backpack over the last 2 years, and I really can't recommend them enough, and they're super cheap. So I don't know why you wouldn't have one or, throw it in your bag because it's just so helpful. Similar to the clothesline and clothespins, I like to carry a clothes hanger with me in my bag. This was just a pack of 7 that I purchased. They were $2.50 for 7. So that works out to about 35 cents a piece, roughly. You don't have to go and buy them. I'm sure you probably have a clothes hanger in your closet or something like that you can just take with you. But I just bought these as an example. I always have had one of these in my backpack. They just go right in the flat side of my backpack, nearest my back. On the inside, underneath all the bags and stuff, they just sit in there flush. And it's been great. It's been good for just, again, for hanging up a shirt at the end of the day, drying a piece of clothes, and maybe you don't want to pull out a whole clothesline, that type of thing. I have found more often than not, places do not have clothes hangers included. Sometimes they will, but a lot of budget locations, they just won't. And so something like that's great. You can hang it off a doorknob or whatever. So I bought these just as for the example here. I wouldn't, obviously take 7 with me. I would just take 1. I had 2 actually for a little while, then 1 broke, but I really didn't end up needing or missing the second one at any point. So after breaking that out, there's 1 plastic clothes hanger for 35 cents, and it weighs a grand total of 36 grams. Hardly anything. This last thing is quite easily the thing I have used the most throughout my trip, more than anything else. It has saved me many times from, plugs that are on the wrong side of the room, not having enough plugs, needing to charge multiple devices at once. And it's something that, it's one of those things where it's just a simple solution for a problem that seems to crop up all the time. And that is just a simple extension cord. This is just a 5-foot or 1.5 meter extension cord. This was also the most expensive item on the list, a wallet-breaking $2.50. So this is a 3 outlet plug. It's got the one on that side, and it's got 2 plugs on that side. Pretty standard thing, 2-prong for the plug, because not everywhere is going to have 3-prong outlets. Quite often I've run into situations where if I had like a 3-prong outlet plug-in or like a power bar or something overcomplicated like that, it wouldn't have worked because there was only 2 plugs in the wall. So something like this is great for that. Always have that with me. Have used it more than anything else in my entire trip. So this is great. Again, probably the most used item in my backpack of all the different accessory type things that I carry. And let's see what it adds to the backpack. So this cord, again, in my backpack adds a grand total of 123 grams to the bag. But it's so versatile and so useful to me that it could weigh twice that and I would still take one with me. I would say about 90% of the time that I've stayed somewhere, I've ended up needing to use that cord. Again, just to plug in either multiple chargers, multiple devices, the plug is too far away from the bed, any of those types of things. And you can go longer. Like this is again, a 1.5 meter or 5-foot cord. You can buy ones that are twice that long. You can get a 3-meter cord if you want. A couple extra dollars probably, but just make sure you have one with you in your bag. So there you have the 10 items that I would strongly recommend everybody carry with them in their backpack when they're traveling long term on a budget. you're looking to make sure you kind of got all the basics covered, this is a great solution for some things that, again, some are common, some are maybe not so common, but I think are very useful. And after 2 years of travel, I would almost start with these types of things before doing anything else. So there you have it, 10 items, 700 grams, about $10 to $12 US in total for all of those items. And it will certainly make your life a lot easier on the road just to have those kinds of things so you don't have to worry about them. While I was doing this, while I was out shopping, I actually found a couple more bonus items I was going to mention just briefly. These are more geared towards those who are going camping. So if you're backpacking, traveling through cities, those types of things, hostels, hotels, whatever, what I've showed you so far is probably all the things I would recommend. There are actually two more items that I found while picking these things out that I thought, they'd be probably really handy if you were going camping. One is an emergency blanket. This was just, those simple foil thin blankets. These are $1.50 at the store, and are, again, fantastic. Similar to that rain poncho, this is something that, can come in very handy. Doesn't weigh anything hardly at all. Super cheap. You can put it in your bag and forget about it. But if you ever needed it, it'd be something really good to have. The other thing that I found when I was there also was some fire starter bricks. So this is a pack of 12 fire starter bricks. It was $1.25 at the store, and you could break this down, just take 2 or 4 with you even. Some of these things that I've talked about, obviously, I'm cheating a little bit. With clothes hangers, for example, I had to buy 7. So, I'm talking, 35 cents a clothes hanger. But a lot of people are going to have them just hanging in their closets, and they can just take one and add it to your backpack anyway. So for most people, that won't cost you anything. But most of the other things that there were all individual items. The clothespins you're breaking down, just taking 8. So that's a third of those types of things. But overall, I think it's a good kit. I think it's a great starter setup for people who are looking to go traveling, want to have some basic accessories that don't cost a lot of money. This whole thing here, even, buying the 7-pack of clothes hangers and the full pack of clothespins and everything else came to like $17 Canadian, which is about $12 US roughly. And then, if you break it down, you're saving even more money. Don't buy the clothes hangers. That's almost $3 of the 17 that I spent. Anyway, I hope you found this video useful. Again, this is just my own personal opinion from my own personal experience, but I think that it was something that I wanted to show some people the kinds of things that you can do if you're looking to travel long term and not have to put up a bunch of money up front, to buy a bunch of fancy bags and, fancy clothes hangers and all this kind of stuff. You don't need any of that stuff. Just go to your local dollar store, value store, whatever you've got around, and pick up some of this stuff. It's worth mentioning, this Dollarama that's here in Canada is everywhere. They are a Canadian store, but other countries have chains that are owned by the same parent company. For example, when I was in El Salvador, there was Dollar City everywhere. Dollar City was exactly the same store as Dollarama here in Canada. They had all the same products. They had all the same, even the colors and the designs and the layouts of the stores mirrored exactly. So that's an opportunity, if you're looking to do that. Every city you go to has dollar stores, value stores, those types of things. So you can find this stuff wherever you are. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you found this video interesting and useful to you. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button down below. I would really appreciate it. Leave a like or a comment on this video to let me know your thoughts. Would you like to see more videos like this? And any suggestions of other things that I may have forgotten or not thought of for this video, leave it down in the comments. We can kind of help each other. If you'd like to support me further, there's a few different ways you can do that. There's no pressure on anyone to do any of that, of course, but there are some links here on the screen, as well as I have my Patreon page set up where you can support me there. I am doing this all on my own. I have no team. I have no editors. I have no social media people or any of that kind of stuff. 100% of my channel is fully run and funded by me, so anything would be appreciated. And remember, life is short. Wander. And I'll see you in the next video.